Hey guys, today's video is all about saxophone straps and slings and which one is best for you on a budget. Enjoy! One of my pupils has recently made the move from tenor saxophone to baritone saxophone, and they've struggled a bit with the saxophone strap that they've been using. So they asked me in one of our lessons, what are the alternatives out there? Which one would be better for them? They're quite small, fairly young, and the baritone saxophone is a much bigger instrument than the alto or the tenor. As you can see, side by side, alto saxophone compared to the baritone saxophone, massive difference in size and in weight, really importantly. And I've got to admit, when I first went over to baritone saxophone myself, I found that I had the same problem. There's lots of options out there. For many years, I used a traditional sling, or a saxophone strap, but I did find with the extra weight, especially for the length of time I was performing, sometimes stood, sometimes sat, that this wasn't really doing that much for me. And this one I just picked up off Amazon for about £10, UK price, something like that. I was finding that it was giving me quite a lot of neck pain, and when I was watching footage back of myself performing, I was very tense, or one shoulder was higher, or I was hunched down, and although at the time I felt I was playing really well, it didn't look too flattering, as can be seen here. And here. And in this video as well. So as you can see, there's loads of things to consider, and in those videos that we've just watched, where I was playing the baritone sax, I used this one. Now this I picked up fairly cheaply yet again. It's a budget one off Amazon, and it's roughly, it was about £35, which would be about $50 I imagine, something similar to that. And I'm sure there's more expensive or slightly better built versions out there. The first thing I struggled with, especially when I was in a rush, is trying to put it on. You're moving quite quickly. I've got this the wrong way around. This is a bit tangled up. I do find that once it's on, it's quite comfortable. You won't notice it. And there are quite a few variations of this particular strap on Amazon, on eBay, and all the usual buying sites, all the online stores. Obviously, if you have a local music store that you go to, they will have something like this. They are more expensive and they're a bit fiddly. This particular one, I've been looking to replace myself. Given the weight of the saxophone, it wasn't holding. Every few songs I'm adjusting, and when you're on stage, you're trying to be comfortable, or you're playing in a large ensemble, you don't want to be in that position where you're constantly having to readjust and shuffle about. It doesn't look too good, it doesn't feel too good, and when you're playing, you want to be thinking about the music, you want to be thinking about the notes that you're playing and how you're doing that. The one thing you don't want to be doing is thinking about other factors, because that can affect your performance. So this has led me to do a bit of research in order to help my pupil, and also to help myself, because I've been finding the same problems. And one thing I've been trying at the moment for the last week or so is this one, which some of you may be familiar with. This is made by a company called Jazzlab, and it is the same price as this one here. So as we see, we have these little colours on the back, yellow there, yellow, red on the other side, and as you move up, it will click into place, and just to release it, you press the button in the middle and it goes like that. Now if I just get this slightly closer to the camera, you can see that there's some arrows drawn on, and if you was to line up the arrows and apply a bit of force, this can allow you to separate like so, which means that you can break down the strap so it fits in a bit better. But how does it work? So quite simply, so you put it on, it goes around here, around the edges, which allows it to be distributed across the shoulders, but also this panel here allows weight to be distributed around your core, which is a bit of an unusual feeling actually when you try it, but the weight goes down on here and it's all spread out rather than being just on the neck and without lots of adjustment. The only thing to adjust is this, and as you can see, unless I put that button in, it just won't move. it's really, really solid. So let's see how we look with the instrument. Okay, so I've got the sling on. Okay, so the sling is on. I've got this part just here. I've got this on. Sometimes I'm finding that it leans slightly forward, so I want to make sure that when I put it on at the back, it is clearly further back enough. And you've got to be careful with this. At this moment, this is roughly where my belly button is. So if I turn this, I can adjust it so it goes down or it goes up slightly. Normally, with the other saxes, as you can see, it's very much on the side, like so. So sometimes what I've had to do is adjust the crook, which means that I'm playing more at that angle, which can affect the sound. I'm finding with this one, I can have it more central to how I should, and I can also, which I can't do with the other one, is to have the instrument more central, which obviously is really beneficial for having that posture. From the side, as you can see, we have lots of opportunities to up and drop it down really quite far. Alternatively, if I need to bring it up, if you're shorter than me, as you can see, it's got quite a large range. What is unusual with this is that there's a pressure point here, and with the other straps you don't have that. But weirdly, I find that because I've got that slight bit of force on there, I am able to hit those lower notes a bit easier than how I would sometimes before, because it's almost as if my diaphragm has been slightly prepped for it. So I'm finding that with this one, I'm having to do a bit of prep, a bit of adjustment, just to make sure that's in. Because I'm quite short, I'm about 5'8", I have to make sure it's actually on one of the tighter settings. So when the instrument, once it's on, there's not much adjustment unless I'm going around here. It's not very good for that. When it's on, even though it's on one of the tighter settings, it isn't quite where I would want it. It's a bit below, which means that straight away I have to lean forward, which affects my diaphragm. Rather than taking the instrument off and on, I have to do a little balancing act with my knee, tighten it up, and it's not ideal. So if I start playing for mountain time, I could play in the centre, but it's dropped down, so to accommodate that, I'll go like so, which brings it up a bit, but it brings it up at more of an angle. Really, it should be flat. I don't want it in a position where I'm like that, so it's closing my throat. I don't want it in a position where I'm leaning up, certainly. So it doesn't make it too good, and then I end up doing this. There's loads of footage and videos of me playing in this position. And it really doesn't look the best. It's not something that helps your sound, and it isn't something that helps your posture, and it doesn't help your comfort over a long amount of time. This is very much on the budget side of things. Probably about $12 at most, about £8 to £10. The clip isn't very secure. That would come off easily. You can even see already it's starting to slide somewhat. It's not too secure. But of course, if you spend a bit more money on something like this, then you probably would be able to get one. Because the baritone is such a big instrument, this sling has to be adjusted so when you put it on, just so you can get to the right place. As you can see here, that's quite high. I can drop it down a bit, so it's about there. If you do go for this particular type of sling, definitely get one if you've got a large expensive instrument that locks into place. You can get so many different options, and for a little bit extra money, it's worth the security of your instrument just to have that option. Because the last thing you want is for it to break or snap or to come loose and your instrument drop and gets damaged, which will cost a lot more than if you paid an extra £10 or whatever to get that secure carabiner for your strap. So obviously everyone's different, everyone has different ergonomics, everyone has a different frame, and people will find some straps much more comfortable than others. I have personally found for my playing recently, this is a much better strap. It feels more comfortable, it isn't needing to be adjusted, and it's really easy for me to get out, set up and put on. This one, potentially really solid. If you fork out a bit more money, you'll probably get one that's a bit more solid, but I feel that this system is too prone to moving, and also sometimes it gets tangled up and it's hard when you're in a rush to get it undone, get it set up and get it on. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to leave some comments in the section below, and if you have any of your own questions, just go ahead and ask, and I'll try my very best to answer them as clearly and as concisely as I can. Well, that's all for now, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!